Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, hello, willkommen, bienvenue, konnichiwa. It's time for the Armist Inquisition yet again, episode 174 on the 7th of March. I'm Amish Phil.
I'm Amish Ben.
I'm Amish Matt.
And tonight we've got Robbie from Out of the Blank podcast joining us. How are we doing, Robbie?
I'm doing all right, but you just made me feel like an amateur podcaster with that amazing intro. I thought that was edited in. Like, after you got done, I didn't know it's live on the show, man. I got to step up my game.
Yeah, we do everything. It's editing, you see. In fact, it's laziness. I don't like editing. So if we can do everything in one take, then all I have to do is make it an MP3 and that's it. It's out into the ether.
That's my motto for when I go to the grocery store. I make sure I can take it all in one trip, and whatever doesn't come in on the first trip gets stuck in the car. I learned to take the ice cream first.
Good tactic, that. Yeah. What's it like? What's grocery shopping like where you are compared to how it was 12 months ago? Is there like we've got like traffic lights above the entrance and stuff, like green, you're allowed to go in. Yeah, you don't believe.
I think when people are going through the aisles with the shopping carts, it is kind of like driving a car, but some people don't know that. Some people just stop in the middle. Actually, it is like driving a car. Never mind, because people stop in the middle of the thing. You're like, I need to get to the corned beef over there, and the woman's stuck staring at coupons or whatever, looking at the side thing, and then she starts striking up a conversation with the grocery store clerk who's covered in tattoos. I mean, his eyes are even tattooed. I'm like, that's why you work at Walmart, sir.
Do they have like we've got stickers all over the floor saying 2 meters, keep 2 meters, and
it's like stickers out of the vending machine that cost 25 cents. Nobody listens to those things. I think in a grocery store, everyone at this point is just doing what they want to do. And it's just like normal. I mean, nobody talks to each other. Everyone uses self-checkout and pray to God some dude doesn't ask you, do you know where this is? I'm like, I don't work here, man. What am I wearing that would show you? I'm wearing an Adidas hoodie. And you think I work at Walmart. Like, I don't know. Sometimes people don't really care what they wear. And I'm like, okay. Got the Johnny Depp confidence. Thank you.
What state are you in, Robbie?
Maryland.
Maryland. Is that in the middle?
It's all the way east as far as you can possibly go. It's right below Delaware, which was the first state. Right. And I only know that because they say we're the first state and we don't do taxes. I'm like, you're good people.
Oh, God, you just froze.
Good people.
So what are the sort of restrictions like there? Because there's a lot of variation. We've heard Texas have started lifting everything now, and a couple of other states. Is it still quite hardcore lockdown in Maryland?
Not too much.
FDA over there, isn't it, in Maryland?
That is
FDA HQ's over there.
That's a question for another Marylander, because I don't know a whole lot about the FDA, but I know our regulations down here, I think people just got fed up. I mean, the first couple months it was pretty serious, but I work at a gym. So, I mean, basically, if you come in, you have to sign like a waiver or something. And you have to wear a mask when you're walking in between sets. But when you're working, I think at this point, nobody gives a shit, dude. I've seen our showers are open. Like, what are we doing here? You got to wear a mask to prevent COVID, but I can see a naked man in the middle of my gym just toweling off in front of everybody. While I had this strange thing happen. I hate going to the bathroom at work because every time, it doesn't matter if I wait till the guy leaves, there's always a naked old dude in there every single time. So I'm going to the bathroom, and I don't know what it's like in your guys' family, how like close you guys are, but there was a dad in there on a cell phone ordering Chinese food while his 17-year-old son was standing there, and his son's like, get more noodles. I'm trying to use the restroom, and there's just an old naked guy in the middle of the gym just toweling his head off, just going like that. I'm like, This is the weirdest thing to me. I've never been that close with my family where I would want to order Chinese food while an old naked guy is sitting in there. And it doesn't even stop there, man. It goes farther and farther to where I start questioning what is life anymore.
I think once you get to a certain age, you stop giving a shit about things like being naked in a changing room. Would you agree?
Yep.
Glad I haven't hit that pinnacle yet.
Maybe it's a father thing. I think we're all dads, and you just give less of a shit, basically.
Well, it's crazy because like we had a storm happen, and then our cold or hot water was like not working, so it was just cold water. And he took a shower anyway, and he warned one of the older guys that were coming in. He's like, "Hey, hot water doesn't work. Just a heads up." And he goes, "Just like the war," and then goes right into the shower. I'm like, "What is happening? I can't. I don't under. I need to sit down and take a breather, but not in the bathroom because you guys don't know how to cover yourselves up."
What fucking war? Vietnam?
Exactly. That's the biggest question. I'm pretty sure he's probably old enough to be in one of those wars.
Well, Vietnam was like late 60s to 73, wasn't it? It ended.
He might be in the one before that. He looked like he was about 110.
The Boer War.
Korea.
I'm pretty sure he just shows up to use the shower too, because I see him like work out for 5. He does stretching and then he goes right to the shower. I'm like, "Did you work out?" He's like, "Yeah, I had a good routine in cutting it short today." I'm like, compared to yesterday, you were only in here like a minute longer.
What is the these older naked guys? What's the pubic situation?
I'm not looking.
Okay, fair enough.
When I see a naked old ass, I do not want to know what's behind that curtain, my friend. I try and walk away as fast as possible.
I just wonder if older gentlemen just let it go down there after a certain age.
Never noticed like a blacky grey blur fuzz.
It looks like when you cut something off circulation and it just goes purple. It's just death. Like there's just a black, like, the sensor bars. That is literally what happens to you when you get to that age. It's just natural sensor bar. It's because it's so dark you can't see past it, like the forest of Avalon or whatever you want to call it.
Okay, I think that clears that up.
Write that down.
No, I was just going to say, going back to like when you're saying we're talking about COVID a little bit, it sort of points out the craziness of the things at the moment. We mentioned sort of like the traffic lights going into supermarkets here, but then as soon as you go into the store, it's just like chaos. So you go down an aisle and there's like 5 people across it. And you have to squeeze past people, and it just sounds like it's the same in your gym as well, where they say you got to wear a mask in between your things, but then as soon as you start working out, you can take it off.
Yeah. I didn't have too many problems with I wasn't a big fan of everything getting shut down because I knew business owners that like committed suicide during it because they lost their business and stuff like that. So that's why I wasn't pro lockdown. But I had the weirdest thing happened. I'm like the only person I know that buys animal crackers. Like that's just a child snack, but I eat it because I can do whatever I want because I'm a man. But they were out, and I was like, this is like the one time in history that I guess during lockdown, people were like, well, let's just get animal crackers and start enjoying those. And then the weird thing was the elderly, they didn't go grocery shopping, so they had someone do it for them. But the hard candies were finally in stock after probably generations upon generations of being out. Like there was just this, they couldn't make it to the store to pick them up. But the animal crackers, now, I just figured out they were iced like not even a month ago. I was like, they got iced animal crackers, bro. That changes the game up. I'm telling you, man. Saltines and animal crackers are my go-tos.
We don't have animal crackers over here. Describe an animal cracker to UK listeners.
It's in the name. It's a cracker that's the shape of an animal.
Yeah, what animals is it made of?
Lions, tigers, and bears, oh my.
Excellent.
Fuck. So it's that simple. I thought there would be like, that's all it is. It's just a marketing thing. It's just a standard dry cracker in the shape of an animal.
Yeah, just like, goldfish. They're goldfish.
I think the equivalent here is the Cadbury's mini animals.
Oh, the wildlife bar. No, the biscuits.
Yeah.
We have safari snacks.
That's way better than animal crackers.
Yeah, but they're not crackers.
Sounds better.
They're biscuit though. The chocolate covered biscuits.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what these are. It's just, he's using an incorrect English term, isn't he? I think you're conflating crackers with biscuits, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So our biscuits are not biscuits over in America, are they? You have them with gravy.
Yeah,
they're more like dumplings.
I don't know what household or what Americans you've been talking to, but I do not eat biscuits with gravy. I like a nice sausage, egg and cheese, McMuffin or biscuit. The smell of that thing, you can put that in a candle.
Oh, I got it. A biscuit is sweet over here. It's made with sugar and butter, and a cracker is savory.
Yeah.
That could be true where you're from, but I'm across the pond, my brother. It's not that at all. It's something we would talk about. That'd be more of a cracker, but I get it because I like a lot of, I would say British foods, to be honest with you. My buddy's, his dad's from London, and it's just a weird scenario. Like seeing him grow up in that whole different environment, like you're living with his dad most of the time. Like they smoke in the house. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Like in my mom smokes in the car and I can't get a damn breath. You know what I mean? Like, but he's in the house just chilling on his couch smoking a cigarette. I'm like, I like that a lot better. You know, be open about your shit.
Is that the main dietary difference, is that he smokes in the house?
No, there's a lot of, he's very honest too. And when I mean honest, I mean brutally honest. He's like, that's your third breakfast when I was a kid. And it just made me feel like shit.
I wouldn't recommend smoking in the house. You know, I'm a smoker and I'm the only smoker in my household. So I did smoke in the house when we first got it before we had kids. And then when we had...
Did you?
Yeah, I seem to remember, yeah.
All right.
And I smoked.
I remember smoking in your back room one Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
But you realise when you start smoking outside that it just fills the fucking room. It's not good.
It's
pretty obnoxious.
Why is smoking cigarettes in the house bad, but then people smoke weed in their house? I don't understand. That stinks way more.
Well, that's a problem over here because marijuana is illegal in this country. So no one smokes weed in their house.
Oh, we're gonna be putting points on the board. One for America, right there. I don't even partake in that. When I was cleaning out my grandma's house, I found her edible, and I was like, "Fuck it, why not?" And I took it and. I don't recommend it. That's a scary type of high I never want to experience in the world. Just saying. I edited a podcast episode where the person was from Beijing. And I swear to God, when I listened to it the next day, I was hoping I did not mess up while editing it because I don't even remember editing it. Like I was way too big, like to a point where you're like, yeah, that's too much.
How long did it last for?
I don't know. I had to go to bed. I was like, I need to go to bed and this needs to get like out. But the next day you could feel like a little bit of that like after effect of it. Like you're like, I still feel kind of high.
Have you heard that 911 call of those two police officers? And they go to some house and they find, that was it. They were police officers and they'd they'd found some edibles in a perp's house, or whatever, and taken them at home. And then they had to call 911 because they were losing it and they were panicking and thinking they were going to die. Say, send help, please.
It's basically tore on himself.
Yeah. But I mean, I wouldn't know because I don't partake in anything like that. But from what I've heard, it's a very different experience.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big weed guy. I mean, I support it just because I've seen so many benefits come from it, like when it comes from like elderly people with like severe like Parkinson's or something. But for some people, I don't think it's for everyone. For me, I feel like there's a small percentage of the population that's allergic to it. I think that's me because like if I smoke, I'll go pale white and I'll just straight up like, I mean, it looks like I'm about to like vomit. Like I just like like, are you okay? And I'm like, I just get sick to it. I don't know why. It's not because it's too much. It's just, I think there's just some people that it just doesn't act well with their system.
We call that pulling a Whitey over here.
Yeah.
And
it's a Whitey?
A Whitey, yeah. And it's usually something that happens when you first start experimenting with. So I've heard. All right. Don't know anything about.
Well, the other thing as well is apparently a lot of people smoke weed when they're drunk. So that increases the chances of you not having a good reaction to it.
You don't want to mix a bunch of different alcohols together because it's like it's like who's that one? Jim Brewer had a joke that your stomach was like the club and your esophagus is like the bouncer. Once you start letting a bunch of people in, you start getting like a whole bunch of people that don't mix well together. The next thing you know, everybody's being evacuated because of a fire alarm.
Yeah, or even worse, rather than the esophagus, there was that craze a few years ago of people, college kids, putting alcohol up their rectums
with a tampon.
Oh, fuck.
And
yeah.
it's incredibly dangerous because the esophagus, the usual way you drink, Ben, you must know about this. How's it work?
It goes in your belly?
Well, no, there's a protection.
It doesn't go into your bloodstream straight away.
It goes
down through your digestive system, whereas there's more blood vessels and stuff around your arsehole that makes it quicker for the alcohol to get into your bloodstream.
Is it not also as well, if you pour an entire bottle of vodka into your arse, you're not going to throw that up unless you shit it out.
No, I'm learning a lot from the Amish Inquisition. I got to start writing some shit down, step up my game. Holy shit.
Start taking notes, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
There was, because Google, I know, it's banned in Australia for just like they're blending search results. You can't find certain things when you search something up because there's paid partnerships and all that. But when a woman tried to Google what happens if you stick a tampon up your ass that was soaked in alcohol, she couldn't find anything. So then she made her own article, was like, well, so I couldn't find anything, so I decided to do it myself. And I'm like, this crazy person just decided, hey, since I can't find the result for it, let me be the pioneer of this and fucking experiment.
Wow, that's pretty wild. I didn't know about that, about Google being... and I know I'd heard recently about the Facebook scandal in Australia. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, Google started that whole movement. Australia actually. So what was happening was Google has paid partnerships. So when you type in a certain whatever, they'll show you whatever they're connected to or whatever gets them money or revenue or whatever first. And then you have to go through like 50 pages to find the like clear results. And the biggest thing of an issue was that it was blending like politics type stuff, I would say, when it comes to like there was a doctor that got the COVID vaccine and he died from it, which is it's going to happen. There's a small percentage of the population that might experience something like that. I mean, it's like that with any vaccine, but they weren't showing the result. They were hiding it. They kept it way at like the last page on the thing, and they weren't showing that result first. Everything that they were showing is that the vaccine works and everything is because they had a paid partnership with that. And then now they have this app called DuckDuckGo, which will show you everything because they don't have any paid tied partnerships and stuff. But it's like the same thing. If I looked up the Amish Inquisition on Google, I might get something that they're paid partnership with first, such as like an Apple podcast or such as a Stitcher, rather than seeing your YouTube or seeing something else. Is whoever's paying them more money is going to be the first result, which ends up, I guess, kind of not really gatekeeping certain things, but it also makes things that are harder to find, which eventually just kind of dulls intelligence.
Yeah, online censorship is becoming an increasingly important thing, particularly with YouTube. I mean, are you finding that you're sort of self-censoring at all during your podcast?
No. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, people say cancel culture is fake, but I've had a heavy debate on someone on an episode saying cancel culture wasn't real. And I'm like, fucking explain Bill Cosby. Like, tell me that one. It's like, oh, well, it's not like they're ever going to pick him up for a movie again. I'm like, I want to know the fucking person that's going to pick up Bill Cosby for a movie, unless it's a documentary of how he did it. Same thing with OJ. Like, I don't see him starring any more Naked Guns, but it makes sense because you'll get picked up for something else, but it's just all the severity of everything. But everything now is cancel culture. This, you say anything, I just crack jokes at it now. Like, I'll say something like probably the Fruit Loops guy. He might, the Toucan Sam, he's probably racist. I don't know. Just start saying shit to say shit. Eventually it's going to get so crazy. People are like, that can't be true. You're going to look like a conspiracy theorist where people just leave you alone like Alex Jones.
I think it's becoming a real problem. We know people who've had their YouTube channel taken away from them just this week. Jamie Deluxe got banned, got a permanent ban. I think he had 30,000 odd subscribers.
I've only been banned off one platform. That was Facebook. That was only for 24 hours. But that was because I posted an episode. They didn't like the content from it.
This is what I mean. So
you can't ban that episode though, because it's not like I was able to come back on, but they just like made it hard for you to click onto it, like go to the YouTube. You actually have to search it up. It was a Freemason episode, and I'm like, that's fucking. I had a Freemason on my podcast to talk about it. You can't ban something that's an actual legit thing. But they were like had something that was offensive to the community. I was like, of what? Experiencing what we're living in an average day cult? Like that's a cult. Freemasons are. It's a bunch of people, usually fire department people, at least where I'm from, get together, go bowling, and do these weird types of hangouts and rituals and old type, like it's like a fraternity.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if there's a couple of different levels to Freemasonry. I think on the surface there's
a lot
networking, and it's mainly tradesmen, builders, joiners, plumbers, and they network and they get each other jobs and recommend each other.
The person I had on, he was from the UK and he works at one of the great lodges down there, and he was telling me all the levels. He actually runs one of the main lodges, but he was talking about there's different types of Freemasons, not just levels in the one Freemasonry thing, but there's average Freemasons. There's the uncommon practice of Freemasonry where you worship the spells and do all. I'm like, that's the one I would want to go to.
Speculative Freemasonry, it's called.
Yeah, I was like, why wouldn't you want to do the one with all the spells and rituals and get to stab a chicken? Like, that sounds a lot more like fun than going half off bowling night. I'm like, oh, fucking great. I'd rather be like worshiping, I don't know, Jesus or Tom Cruise.
I wonder if they filter out, you see, if there's like a streaming system involved in Freemasonry, and if you show yourself to have an aptitude for the speculative Freemasonry, then the doors are open for that path.
You said I thought you were saying like an OnlyFans for Freemasonry. It's a whole nother streaming service. I like this.
Have you got an OnlyFans, Robbie?
I wish. I'd probably be making way more money than this podcast.
What do you actually like? Do you have a Patreon or anything? Do you do donations?
Yeah. I don't ever want to charge for my content, just because at one point I thought nobody would ever want to hear me talk. And then, so kind of keep that mentality. Plus, too much of the world is expensive as shit, man. I see some of these Patreons like $50. I'm like, what the fuck are you offering in that $50 that I can't get just listen to you? Who pays for shit anymore? Only thing I pay for is Dragon City on my phone. If you fucking toss 120 gems my way for $2.99, you bet your ass I'm buying into that shit.
Yeah, we have the same philosophy. We operate the value for value system. You know, if you find it valuable, we have a PayPal address and you can send us a donation. And we sell merch. But other than that, yeah, I don't like the idea of putting things behind paywalls or using corporate advertising.
I do sell merch, but I make the price so low on Teespring that I don't benefit from it.
Yeah, we're the same.
Yeah. I was like, just wear that. I don't care. You got my face on a shirt, bro. I put my face on joggers and someone was wearing it. I was like, I don't like that. I'm going to take that off.
Yeah, they do leggings as well. We have a prototype Praise Jabalon legging, don't we? That's never gone on sale yet.
Oh, there's a good reason for that, I think.
I think it might be US only. There's some things that Teespring do for the US, but they won't do for Europe or the rest of the world. Some of the product ranges. They
don't do, I think... Australia, they don't have a thing to ship to Australia at all, because I have a few people in Australia like, how can I get a shirt? I'm like, I'm not shipping you a shirt. It's $85 just for shipping costs. I tried to ship my buddy a box of cereal in Canada, and it was like $65, I think, to get to where he was from. I was like, you just have to get like to Texas or whatever the hell whatever's up there next to Canada, and somebody just toss you a box over the border, because I'm not freaking shelling out $65 to mail you some Fruity Pebbles.
That reminds me, actually, going back to the podcast merch, our buddies Darren and Graham from Grimerica, they had a Redbubble store for all their merch, and it got shut down about a month ago. And
for what?
For what they were putting on the T-shirts. They got their account suspended and they had to move to Teespring.
Okay.
It was something to do with vaccines.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. Why? Why can't we have fun with it? You can put some person's ugly grandkid on their shirt and wear it. Why can't I crack a joke about the vaccine? What's the issue?
I don't know. It's because the people don't like what they're saying. It was the same with the YouTube. they got another strike on the YouTube channel. And it's funny, he sent me a screenshot of the email he got from YouTube. Said to me, to our group chat. And he changed his channel name from the Grimerica show. He changed his channel name to Fuck YouTube, Download, Odyssey and Rockfin. So then he sends this screenshot of this email from YouTube. Dear Fuck YouTube, subscribe Rockfin and Odyssey. We're sorry to inform you that we're giving you another community strike on your channel. I thought that's fucking genius, that.
I tried to, because YouTube's doing advertisements for your podcast. You could do like Google ads and stuff like that, so it'll pop up when you're looking at the recent ones. I did that recently, and what I hate about these like ad companies is once you get your card on the file, they won't get it off, and it's like a very, very long. I just stood on customer support for like an hour and a half to get my bank card removed, and I'm like, I spent $30 on an ad for a video. You reviewed it and then said no. So why are you charging me? Like if it's not running? And they're like this, giving me all this. Oh, let me look at your account, sir. I'm like, no, just take my card off. You don't want to do the ad? I'm like, no. I'm like, what am I saying in that episode? And then I realized what episode it was, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. You don't want that advertised because I said something that was pretty ridiculous, and I think I mentioned it to you in our episode, Phil.
Mm-hmm. What was it? I can't remember now.
I don't know if I want to say it on here. I don't want to get you guys canceled.
It's fine. It's good. It's good for street cred.
How there was, there's still a large percentage of the population or whatever that does like the circumcision type thing, and it's not really needed. And I said there was a kid in 2006 that baby that died of herpes because a rabbi had herpes and transmitted it to the kid. I said that, and I forgot it was in the episode. I sponsored as an advertisement. YouTube's like, we're reviewing your channel. I'm like, shit, I was undercover because no one knows who I am, and the next thing I know, I screw myself over by trying to pull out an ad.
Yeah, the truth can be a dangerous thing. Unfortunately, that is something that does happen with this old...
It was too funny. My buddy's like hardcore religious, so I just told him, he's like, shut up, Robbie, that's not true. I'm like, it is. And I Googled it, or he Googled it, and he's like, oh my God, it is true. And his reaction was priceless. I mean, it was like when I found out Larry King was dead on an episode, the day it happened, 2 hours later. Like, I was like, wait a minute, Larry King's dead? And the guy's like, you didn't know Larry King died? I thought you were making a segue. I'm like, don't fucking lie to me, man. And I literally Googled it and said 2 hours ago, and you just see my face, like, drop. Like, I mean, oh, my God.
He's like an institution over there, isn't he, Larry King? What's the name of his show? What was it called?
I think it's like Larry King Live or something like that.
Larry King Live. But, I mean, how long do you think he's been on the airwaves?
I wasn't a fan of Larry King, so I couldn't tell you. Probably like 80 years. The man was old.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of those guys who's been around forever.
Yeah, you kind of see in some of his, like, he had an interview with Tom Segura on there, and he was trying to say chocolate souffle, and he goes, socket souffle, and he's like, what'd you say? And they just morphed that and made it into a soundbite where he's like, socket souffle, and then people just made shirts about it, and then, yeah, I don't know what happened after he died. I think they took all that stuff down, but it was funny. I'm like, but you get to see it, man. That man was old. He had 5 different wives.
Slow learning.
Divorced 5 times, I would say. Just couldn't find the right one, I guess. I don't know.
Did they get progressively younger, his wives? Do you think?
Maybe that's why he looked like that. They were sucking the joy out of him.
Oh, my God. Oh, if only.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about Applebee's, and I chose Larry King as a great example of, like, you see a Larry King picture on the wall, it's signed or something. There's always random shit at Applebee's wall or Outback or whatever. There's always like fucking boomerang, hockey stick. It's like being at a thrift store. It's like you can literally, anything you want is on the walls. Well, I didn't go with Regis because I knew Regis was dead, and then I went to Larry King as an example, and then he was dead, and I was like, do I just predict death? What is happening?
You want to start a Deadpool?
A Deadpool, yes.
Who do you think is going to die this year, Robbie? This calendar year?
I don't want to do that.
Oh, go on.
It's like a hex.
Surely you don't believe you actually have this power.
Honestly, you can convince anybody of anything. If you can convince someone to be religious, I think I can convince myself that I can hex people that way.
By you, Matt? Who'd been top of your Deadpool for 2021?
Oh, easy, Prince Philip.
Oh. That's not fair, because that's a cheap shot. That man's basically dead already.
Yeah, I think
he has been a corpse for 10 years, hasn't he? But
Someone who is sad when I saw his picture. I was like, oh my God, this is like the black that was under his eyes. That's the black on we were talking about with the sensor bar on the old man's crotch. That's what it looks like. Just pure death, no circulation. I feel like at this point, it's just wires holding him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I think that's unfair. I don't think you can pick someone who's actually in hospital.
Close to death.
Close to death. He's been close to death for 3 decades.
Now, if you guess the day and time, then I'll be impressed.
No, I'm not going to do that. Who's the other one? David Attenborough. Then.
Oh, good shout. Good shout.
Is he not mid-90s as well?
Yeah, easy. Is he well known in the States? David Attenborough.
I've never heard of him.
He doesn't know. He's like
a wildlife guy.
Yeah, he's a very famous naturalist, and he's done wildlife documentaries for 50 years, maybe more.
More, I think. Yeah.
Is he the one that when he talks, he says like they were sitting on a pile of wubble? I'm like, why? You're doing a nature documentary talking about Trash Island, and you can't even say the word properly. How are people going to take you seriously?
I don't think he has soft R's, does he? That sounds like Jonathan Ross.
Is that the term, soft R's? That is, I'm going to start using that.
I don't know. I made it up, I think. It might be.
Yeah, that is an expression. I'm sure it is.
Is it soft R's?
Soft R's.
Wobble.
Soft arse.
That's what you get from putting a tampon up your ass.
A soft ass, yes.
No, so David Attenborough, Prince Philip. Do you want me to name any more old people?
Do you know, I'd struggle with the world of celebrity. I'd struggle to think of like 3 old famous people, I think.
I'm going to say John Travolta.
Ooh.
Only because he just left this Church of Scientology. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, he did after 30. He's now shaved his head and everything. I'm like, I don't think you just leave. I think they have some other stuff that you have to like, give me your kidney and then you can go.
I'm gonna have to Google that and we'll see if we can contact these people and get him on the podcast.
Is this a recent development, Robbie?
Yeah.
I don't know. It came out like a month ago.
Really?
I saw it on one of those tabloid magazines, so you might want to check the information if it's true.
I mean, most people who leave the church end up like writing a tell-all book and then being pursued legally by the church for year after year, don't they? It's usually quite acrimonious.
I made the mistake of letting in a flat earther, and then now they keep contacting me on different pages on Instagram, asking me about it's like Jehovah's Witnesses. They won't go away. I'm like, can you stop? I don't have the time to look through. And they're all under weird accounts. Hydraulic pen. Remember, Phil, we talked about that hydraulic pen account. They go into this weird acronym, and they're like, we're flat earthers. I'm like, but you're showing a very stylish pen. I don't your page is not what you're saying you are. How can I trust if this is true?
Wow, that's weird. We had the king of the flat earthers on in January.
He was good fun, wasn't he, David Weiss?
David Weiss, yeah. He's like he's the king of the flat earthers, isn't he? He's got the
flat earth king.
He has the app.
If you had to pick an idea or a conspiracy that you find is not true, probably the most bullshit, which would you say?
Royal lizards.
You're going straight for Anunnaki, Ben?
Yeah, I think so.
What exactly is that one?
Lizard people inside the skins of
we're talking about Hillary Clinton types. I got you.
Yeah.
That was popularized by David Icke, wasn't it? He called them, I'm going to butcher it, but didn't he sort of intimate that they were shape-shifting lizards? The people, like this small cadre of people at the top who were pulling the strings of the human race.
Did he accidentally see somebody blink sideways instead of up and down? Like where the eyelids closed?
Proper X-Files shit.
It makes, I guess there's logic behind it, but I can't get with that. It's like Hollow Earth. I talked to a volcanologist, and she's like, that's the biggest bullshit I have ever heard. I could tell you I've studied the Earth's core, and it's not hollow. And I'm like, okay, I'm just checking. I got to make sure.
Yeah. I think other than Flat Earth, I would say probably the moon landings is one that I can't get behind.
Thank you. I don't think the video, I think we didn't make it there when we said we made it there. We made it there a little bit later, but it was an idea that we needed a win because we're at war. And I was like, then we just did that. Plus, I don't know. Listening to Buzz Aldrin, he's been right about a lot of shit. He predicted that there was water on the moon and an obelisk on Mars. I'm like, everything he said has come true but the obelisk. So I'm like, we just hit Mars. I bet you we're going to find something.
Did you ever watch the press conference that the 3 astronauts did when they returned to Earth? It's absolutely bizarre.
Are we talking about conspiracy theories we buy into?
Is that your noise, Ben?
I've gone the opposite.
Yeah.
It's my voice.
No, just mute your thing a minute.
It's you. We're picking up your big fan again.
Yeah,
it's either you're a big fan or you got a Roomba.
Hang on.
He's got a Roomba.
Those things sound like engine turbines when they're unloading all the dirt that they've had. It sounds like it's going to explode. I'm like, I don't want that anywhere near me.
I mean, isn't it a bit shit, the Roomba? Don't they need emptying like every 10 minutes? And they can't. I think they suck.
Oh fuck! It's awful.
I think we're fixing robotics in a way, but I want to go back to what we were thinking about back in the day in like 2009. Remember the eater machine?
Nope.
It was this AI thing that would go into battle, and what it does is it kills and then it survives off eating dead corpses. Look it up. It's a real thing. You probably heard about it, but you didn't know the name.
Yeah. Was this a DARPA thing?
Yes, DARPA, yeah.
Yeah, the ones who made that robot that looks like a dog that they stole from Black Mirror. Yeah, the eating machine. I didn't know. What's it called? Is that what it's called? The Eater? It's called
EATR, EATR, and then it's like ergonomic advanced technology robotic system or something like that.
Yeah, why would you make that thing?
Yeah, why would it survive off corpses?
Imagine a killing machine that survives off what it kills.
Yeah, no, but
that's amazing. That's Mad Max level shit.
How does it? Oh, here we go. Cyclone waste heat engine.
Mm-hmm. You just put a fancy sticker on it and a nice paint job, and people will be okay with it. The low price of $39.99. You can murder your whole family and have no evidence.
Ugh. Yeah, so basically vegetation, and then it changed the biomass into fuel somehow.
Right. So is there any waste, do you think? Is it like just spit out the jewellery and the gold fillings or something?
I don't know. He says
like you're panning for fucking gold.
Chicken fat as one of its proposed fuel sources.
Chicken fat. Okay.
Yeah. Well, just human corpse.
Yeah, that's not sinister at all.
That's awful. Yeah.
What's it? DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. I think it stands for, doesn't it?
Don't know.
They make some crazy shit.
Sounds like a load of shit to me.
Sounds like fucking Skynet to me.
Right? See, we stopped doing that, though. We stopped building AIs in fear that they would take over us. So now we just try and perfect the perfect human by implanting that technology inside of us. So like a Neuralink, or finding ways to make the human race like a better species or fix imperfections in us. And I'm like, if we were smart, we would build an AI, not in the fear that it would take us over, but it would look at us like a sick grandparent and be like, they need to fix us. They need to try and find ways to perfect us because, like, we're their creator. They're like, let me help you since you created me. That's the positive hopes, but it probably is going to be like Terminator where they try and kill us. So I'm okay with not exploring that rabbit hole yet. Let's stick to Mars. I don't care. I'd rather discover our oceans or our human mind first. But if you want to go ahead and stick a chip inside of your head, that's okay. I mean, not too long ago, we were worried about cell phones exploding in our ears. I'm pretty sure a chip in your brain has no side effects to it whatsoever.
I think it's just a matter of time, isn't it? The whole transhumanist thing. I was thinking about it the other day. I don't know whether I've said this before, but there'll come a point where artificial legs are better than human legs.
Oh, yeah.
Sooner or later, some guy is going to say, get rid of my legs. I want the Iron Man legs. That's
like the Futurama fear, man, is like eventually people are going to be like, well, I have a perfectly working arm, but it would be better if it was robotic. And then you got Mr. Go-Go Gadget, whatever his name is, freaking run around punching grandma in the face because she's in the living room and he's in his bedroom and he can retract his fist all the way down to the freaking living room.
Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, Inspector Gadget. What'd I say? Go-Go Gadget? Isn't that what he says when he does his whatever?
Yeah. Go-Go Gadget. egg whisk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something we grew up with. I remember that vividly from the 80s.
I saw the movie with, what's his name?
Broderick.
Who's the guy that...
Broderick.
Yeah, but who's the guy? What did he play in the one movie? You're using his actor name. I want to use his movie I know him as from...
Ferris Bueller?
Ferris Bueller, that son of a... That, he was an Inspector Gadget. He had a go-go Gadget helicopter head, go-go Gadget umbrella out of the ass, and then all these things. I was like, it's amazing. It'll never rain.
Do you remember what the dog was called?
There was a dog?
Oh, yeah.
Brain.
Yeah.
Brain.
Yeah, and the daughter, the niece rather, was Penny.
Penny, yeah.
And the bad guy was...
Baron Greenback. No.
Claw, wasn't it? The Claw, yeah.
I know he had a metal hand, didn't he?
Yeah.
Go then.
He had a cat, so I could tell he was evil.
Yeah, that's the weird sign of a bad guy in a movie is when they have a cat.
I think just in general life.
Where's that come from? Because that is a bit of a truism, isn't it? Are the dogs banded together and convinced us to portray cats in a negative light in our media?
I think they just kind of pulled a question out to the audience and was like, if we could either suffocate a cat or a dog, which one would you feel more sad about? And everyone's like, I feel way more sad about the dog. Like, all right, cats are the enemy. Do
you have a dog or cat, Robbie?
I had a dog a while ago, but not anymore. I got to get another one, though. I want to.
There is, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about cats.
Why would you trust something that doesn't care about you?
This is the thing. I wonder if they care.
They don't. They don't at all. They will.
No.
Actually, I can't even say that about dogs because I've heard a dog eat somebody after they've been in their house for like 3 days. So I'm like, well, at least they wait 3 days. Like, you wait 3 days to call a girl. If a dog can wait 3 days to eat me, that's fine. But a cat's like, I don't give a shit about you. Like, eventually it just looks at you like, you've been stoned on the couch for 4 days and I haven't eaten. Like, get up. Like, you know, there's stuff to do. But I feel more of a, I guess there's more love or connection with the dog because I think they need you more. Cats or look at you like, man, you need me.
There is anthropological reasons for this, isn't there? We have a very close relationship with canines that goes back at least 10,000 years.
We used to worship cats, though, or Egyptians did. There's that godlike status from however many years ago.
Look, I've seen the movie The Mummy, and cats ward off dead spirits and ghosts, and that's the Egyptian way, I think, because all my Egyptian knowledge comes from The Mummy with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, and there is this association with the occult in cats, isn't there? And cats being the familiar, and cats associated with witches and Halloween. There's a certain relationship there.
It's the first, we made a, what's it called? Animal, or is it, I think it's called Animal Kitty or Surveillance Kitty, where they put a CIA eavesdropping tracking device into the cat. And it was like, I think, $20 million into the cat, and it got killed the first 5 minutes of the mission because nobody understood that it's an animal and it's going to run out into the middle of the street, and it got hit by a taxi.
Fucking hell.
It was a smart idea to have like a cat with like a transmitter, but it's like, because you couldn't control a dog. A dog's going to be all over the place. Couldn't control a bird, but they had it in a cat. And this cat just ran out in the middle of the street after being released for its mission, and then it got hit by a taxi. And I'm like, that's like, it wasn't even $50 million. It was, I think it was either 2 or 200 million. It was something where I was like, that's a lot of money. Like, you know how many homeless people you could have saved with that amount of money, but instead they're like, let me put
you could have put trackers in homeless people. Save the sun.
They'd actually probably do it for free. Just give them a sandwich.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, animals. I'm thinking, didn't the Russians use dolphins at one point for exploding mines?
They use seals too. Our Navy does, at least. They use seals for disarming missiles and stuff of that sort, like when underwater or not missiles, seals. Mines. Yeah,
I've heard of them.
The Navy SEALs. Yeah, I've heard
Navy
of them.
SEALs. I like that. It's a good old dad joke. It's like I had a dad joke from WandaVision. Have you guys seen it? I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, it's in it all. But I'm not sure these two have you watched them all?
I'm not going to watch it, so...
Well, the last episode, there were two visions, and then I just looked over at my buddy. I was like, I'm seeing double vision, and he just looked at me like, shut the hell up. Like, it was nice. It was a good dad joke. I don't even have kids that I know of.
I started my kids proper education this weekend.
Star Wars.
Episode 1 yesterday, Phantom Menace, and we did Attack of the Clones today.
Don't let them watch the new shit.
That's not Star Wars. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to make sure my buddy who does a Star Wars podcast listens to this, because he's like, it's still Star Wars. I'm like, no, it's not.
What are your big problems with the last 3 films or whatever films?
That I haven't watched more than 2 minutes of it. I mean, I can't sit down and jam with it. There's something there that's lost for me, or I don't know if it's too much happening, or if it's like, you ever watch a movie in a theater, but you sit front row because you got late to the theater, then you have to just stare at the middle of the screen and pray to God something comes across your way so you can actually see it. Because if you go like this constantly throughout the movie, you're going to get whiplash and probably end up puking all over yourself. So I'm like, it's the new Star Wars. There's too much shit going on. I can watch The Mandalorian, but I feel like I'm so out of the realm now where I'm just like, even playing the Lego video game, it's a fucking Lego game. It's meant for 8-year-olds and 7-year-olds. Why is it too damn complicated for me to play? Because you have to switch back and forth between different characters. You need this character to unlock this, but you get that character at the end of the level. I'm like, oh my God, suck my dick and take the $40.
All the Lego games are like that. My kid's got the Lego Marvel one, the DC Marvel one, and it's all this swapping character nonsense. But so have you watched them all? The last 3 Star Wars films.
I have not seen the newer ones. I've only seen the old ones.
Really? So you can't...
I refuse.
You refuse? Why?
Because I don't... That's not Star Wars.
Why?
Because it's too new.
It's too new.
It's like Sharknado. Eventually, after the 5th movie, you got to be like, this is enough.
Did you watch... is it Rogue One?
No.
Yeah, Rogue One.
You haven't watched Rogue One? Now, I don't like the new Star Wars film, but I think Rogue One is the best of them.
I think Rogue One's a good film.
No.
I would give it a chance, Robbie. You might.
I would only give it a chance because you said, and also I learned something about Mark Hamill I never knew, which was that he got into a car accident, and that's why his face was like that. But in the Star Wars films, in the movie, they had him get. They had the scene where he got sliced by that Wampa or whatever. That was to explain the car crash. So then you didn't question it later in the movie. I found out. I was like, I didn't even know that about Star Wars. That's awesome.
Wow, I didn't know.
Cool.
Yeah, if you look at his cheek, like you see, like the before picture and the after, his cheek is like seems displaced. It seems like it's been broken or it's been moved over, and it was because he got into a car accident, messed up one side of his face, and they explained it by doing that Wampa scene. And I was like, I didn't know that was. It was like the same thing with Sylvester Stallone. I didn't know his face came like that from birth. It wasn't that a doctor grabbed him with forceps and then it pulled his face. I'm like, holy shit! I'm learning. I have so much more respect for those two people now.
Yeah, one thing I don't like about the new Star Wars film is the way they treated Luke's character.
I don't even want to know.
No. No, it's maybe redundant.
I'll tell you what. Didn't make him a bitch, did he? He was kind of a bitch in the first couple of movies. I was a fan of, what would you call it, Liam Neeson's character, and then they killed him off, and then I was a fan of Obi-Wan.
Yeah, my 9-year-old was visibly shocked when Qui-Gon died yesterday. It's the first time he's seen it, and he watched it all the way through. And it's pretty, like you said about it being the new films being quick. Phantom Menace is pretty slow paced.
It is
for a 9-year-old, and he watched it all. And his favourite, well, I'll tell you what, he is a fan of Jar Jar Binks. But we'll skip that because he's 9. I think he's allowed.
Okay.
I'm sure I liked the Ewoks when I was 9, so we'll let him have that. But
you don't like the Ewoks now?
They're a bit of a fucking sideshow, aren't they? They're a bit annoying.
I don't like how they get explained where they're like these little cute little like creatures on this planet. I'm like, no, they're fucking savages. They remind me of apes. Like they'll bite your fingers off, they'll bite your dick off, they'll bite everything, and they'll just kill you with rocks. Like they're literally pelting people with rocks throughout the movie. I'm like, those things are badass.
But the lightsaber scene was definitely the highlight for him. And, well, I think that probably that Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Darth Maul is probably the best duel, isn't it? Of the series, I would say.
Well, what about when Obi-Wan slices Anakin into bits in a background of lava? What else do you want?
I mean, the thing is that we know how that one ends.
Yeah, I suppose.
When you first see it. Whereas I remember seeing The Phantom Menace, you didn't know that Qui-Gon was going to die.
No.
Or Darth Maul was going to die.
No.
So...
Do you see? I like that though because it was a pretty good like long fight scene, but I also don't like them too long. Like there's a movie with Jackie Chan and it's called The Iron Mask or something like that. It has Arnold, the powerlifting guy. He's in it as well. But their fight scene is like an hour and a half, where you're like, at this point, I'd be tired as shit. And then also, like, it's just going on forever because they got two main characters and they can't kill one without somebody being upset or kill the other one without the other one being upset because they're two famous people that people are all rooting for. Like, you don't want to see Jackie Chan die. You don't want to see Arnold die. So it's like this whole shift. And then they eventually team up after like an hour and a half of fighting. I'm like, so what was that bullshit? I don't understand. I just wasted an hour and a half watching everybody fly around the room for 45 minutes or whatever. And then next thing you know, you guys are talking for 30 of it. It's like, okay, I just wasted my whole Sunday afternoon, but I'm okay. I'm going to rate it 5 stars and then just walk out.
I mean, even the thing with the Darth Maul scene is, even though it's not that long, it's cut and they go to other scenes several times throughout the duel.
Yeah.
The thing that makes it for me is the force fields when Obi-Wan gets cut off and then he has to watch and he watches his master get killed. And I remember thinking, holy shit, when I first saw it, like, he's just killed your master and now you're on your own and you've got to deal with him. It's like, fucking hell. Wait
till they bring back Darth Maul.
Well,
there's a Darth Maul spider, isn't there, in some of the stories?
He got brought back in the Clone Wars, the cartoon thing.
Yeah, they
gave half of his lower half metal legs that got chopped off, and I was just looking at it like, I hope they bring Jango Fett back. Like, please. Like, I know his head got sliced off, but we can fix that, right? Like, pop it back on and twist it.
They teased Darth Maul coming back in the Solo movie.
Yeah, I was just going to say he was in the Han Solo film, wasn't he?
Just as a hollow projector.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was trash as well, the Solo film. Fucking hell.
That was pretty bad, wasn't it? Yeah.
You do feel like Disney are just trampling over all my childhood heroes.
Haven't they? They've stopped making them for a bit now.
Have they?
Having a breather. So I think they're focusing on the TVs. Well, there's an Obi-Wan, I believe, from what I've read, there's an Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show coming out and one based on Rogue One with the character in
Cassian.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, right, the Obi-Wan series, I mean, is it not just going to be him tossing it off on Tatooine? You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything.
A large part of it will be him tossing it off on Tatooine, yeah. But I imagine there'll be side missions, won't there?
Side quests.
Yeah.
Can I toss you out my Star Wars movie idea?
Yeah.
Go on then.
So imagine that these people are on a shuttle or they're fighting in the war or whatever, and they crash onto Hoth. And they go into this, they're coming out of the spaceship, whatever, walking on Hoth.
Hang on. When's it set?
Yeah. I don't know. Whenever the battle is. I don't know Star Wars lore. I'm sorry. I'd rather watch birds, to be 100% honest with you. I know it sounds bad, or study cult stuff. I don't know. I like that. But when they crash on the planet, they're coming across all these snowmen, and they're like, well, look at all these, who designed this, all these snowmen, like they look like people, they're like snow, and like some dude sculpted it, looked real nice, and they go, holy shit, like walking over to it, making funny poses by it and just messing around, and the one dude looks at it and goes, it's so real, and he goes like this and wipes the snow off the face, and it's a person frozen, and someone had molded snow around his body to make him like look like snowmen. So they figure out there's a psycho person on this planet that is literally probably hunting them down. They start going like all crazy trying to survive and shit. But there's this dude that's been alone for so long that whenever someone comes there, he kills him and he puts him as like, that's a good idea, bro. Come on.
Do you know who it is? It'll be Luke Skywalker's co-pilot. He didn't actually die when the A-Wing crashed.
You forgot me, you son of a bitch.
He woke up 12 hours later and everyone, the rebels have gone. The Imperial forces have gone after him and he's just left there.
But I got that idea from the dude they found in the tree that still thought the war was going on like 37 years later. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Japan.
Yeah.
There was famous cases of Japanese fighters in the jungle in the 1970s. Still thinking the war. Yeah,
that's my idea. Is that's what the movie is? They left him there, and he thought the war was still going on. So everybody that crashed, he kept killing and making it. And he got so lonely, he had to beg people to talk to. So he would use these ice sculptures.
Oh my god!
It's a good movie plot, dude. Come on. I just watched a movie yesterday about a bunch of kids trapped in the woods, and they all had suicide vests on, and because there was a killer out there, and they had to figure out a way to get the vests off. And it turns out they had to keep killing each other, and the last one survived. Get the vest would stop it to explode or whatever it was. And I was like, that's my movie's a way better plot than that piece of shit.
What movie was it with the old Japanese? Was it subtitled?
That was a real person.
Oh, that's Battle Royale, a classic Japanese bloodfest horror film.
Yeah, that was from the 70s, wasn't it? Battle Royale.
I think it was later than that.
Was it?
I think it might be 90s. Yeah.
Oh, we're heading into Inspector Gadget territory. I'm out.
Oh dear. Anyway, so tell us about Out of the Blank, Robbie. What episode are you up to at the minute?
It'll be 7:21 in an hour.
721.
Jesus.
I don't know when you're posting this, so that's
tomorrow.
Today. Tomorrow, then it'll be 7:21.
Holy shit. And are you doing one a day?
Yes.
How long are the episodes?
I don't know how long as I feel like talking. Probably they always go longer than an hour. So sometimes they're 2 hours, sometimes they're an hour and a half. I just set recording days.
Oh man, we've run out of material in about 10 minutes, I think.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Robbie,
Ben, you would be perfect.
I suppose part of the thing is, Robbie, you're getting different people all the time with different life stories and perspectives and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to be, is to kind of be open to everything. Even if a person, I don't know if he's going to want me saying this, but my childhood hero, Power Ranger, he's a buddy of mine now, but he's been on a couple of times. We had a 3-hour episode about Flat Earth because they found out he's a Flat Earther. He won't let me post it.
Which Power Ranger did he play?
He was the stunt man from 1998 to 2003, so he eventually played all of them. He actually probably had more screen time than most of the actual Rangers that got the credit for it.
You see, I assumed that the the stunt scenes, or the big battle scenes, were probably filmed in Japan.
I don't know about that.
With like Japanese actors, and the scenes where they just had the faces showing, they used the American actors.
No, a lot of the stunt people, like, because he did probably a lot more, I guess, camera time than they did, because you got the helmet on, you don't know who is under that.
That's what I mean.
But a lot of it were performers, like talented performers that did like acts. Like he worked at certain amusement parks, and he played the kid from Terminator 2. He did a lot of stunt performing for so odd years before he got picked up doing the stunts for the Power Rangers stuff. So a lot of that was just performers that he worked with were the stunt people, not Japanese actors.
Yeah. How did you find him?
Just Instagram.
Instagram.
That's how I find all my guests. I just find something, I just look up a hashtag, and then I just keep going through. But I found him through an arm wrestling page, because he's like trying to be a pro arm wrestler. He runs like a whole gym about it and stuff too. And it's like, I was like, damn, you can't just drop the Power Ranger thing off, because I thought I was going to go into arm wrestling, and then he dropped the Power Ranger thing. I'm like, hold the fucking phone. Are you telling me you're my childhood hero right now? And he goes, what do you mean? I'm like, stand up. And he's like, stand up. I'm like, turn around, let me see your ass. I need to measure it to how many times I saw your ass on camera when I was a kid. Because that's all you saw in the old Power Ranger flicks, were like their ass or legs or some shit like that. You never saw they would do a cut scene. It's like when you see Steven Seagal's movies, they're all shot from the waist up or the neck up, because he's too big on camera. So it's like they just show him like a dude fly through a wall and he acts like he just kicked or something like that. I'm like, his foot, I didn't know. You just did cut scenes.
Who have been some of your favourite guests or unexpectedly favourite guests, you think?
I don't really have a favorite. I mean, if you come back on my show, it means I obviously like talking to you. Yeah. So it's kind of, I don't know. They all have something unique about each conversation. It just depends on where it goes. I've only think out of the 720 or probably I've done around 740. There's only been a few that I haven't posted. And that was just because of like certain things, like if they were upset about it or they didn't want it going up. Because sometimes, you're talking, if you're a teacher, especially, you say something that you might feel, but you don't want to risk your job. So I understand that. Usually I try and edit, if they want me to take something out. Like I've edited a 2.5 hour recording down to 45 minutes because the person had extreme social anxiety where they would pause for like 5 minutes every time we would say something. And he felt so bad about it. I was like, I'm never going to make anybody look bad. So I will edit this podcast. So I spent a whole day editing it down and cutting out every single pause, every single stutter. And I did it. And then he loved it, shared it to his family. His family messaged me and was like, that was amazing. Thank you so much. And I was like, that's why I do it, is the feedback for it. I mean, I know it sounds corny and stuff, but like, I really love when someone messages me saying, hey man, I had a really great time being on the show and it was fun just being able to talk. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of the point of the thing. I won't want to debate anybody about it.
And that could have really helped him as well, Robbie. If someone has a social anxiety, for you to edit all that out and put that out, and then he's gone and shared it to his family and people he knows, that could actually be really cathartic for him.
Well, he's a really talented writer, and he wrote a review about it too, about being on it, and it was amazing to read. It actually brought me to tears. I'm like, damn, didn't know he actually felt that way about it. But then, I've had a couple of cases where like someone comes on and they just want to debate or they want to do something. Like I think the only argument out of all the conversations I had was about kids getting free lunches, and I was in support of it. And the guy was like, no, kids should not get a free lunch. And I'm like, but you're a teacher, bro. Like you would think you would care about the kids. But then after like 30 minutes of going back and forth, I stopped myself and I was like, wait a minute. You're a private school teacher. So it makes sense you would feel that way because kids are paying a lot of money to go to these schools and getting like delivery pizzas to them and paying so much out of pocket because they have all this money. But in a public school scenario, free lunches. And he goes, I guess, but I don't know. I don't work in a public school. And I'm like, all right, well.
Yeah, politics is a tricky one, isn't it? Yeah, you're best staying away from that probably. That's not what you're doing, You're sort of exploring different people and their life experiences and what they're into.
Yeah, it's conversation. So if you have a topic you want to bring up, just talk about it. Like someone goes, I did not like how that conversation went. I was like, you've steered it that way. Like I don't just go, what do you feel about this? No, I don't say that. I'm just like, well, we start talking and you start going, I don't like where our economy's going right now, and just start going off about Trump or Biden or something like that. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to roll with you on it because it's conversation. It's like, I'm not going to, I'm going to say what I think too. And then next thing you know, they're like, I don't want that released. I'm like, all right, well, they're like, maybe we can do another one. I'm like, yeah, why would I want to talk to you again for another hour if you're just going to say probably the same thing?
Yeah. I was quite interested in the hot astrophysicist you had on. Was she from Lebanon?
Dr. Serene Nemi, yeah.
She seems really cool.
She's a good friend of mine. She's been on a couple of times.
Yeah. I might say.
Space, bro. Space. That's all you can say.
We love it. I mean, we like having experts on because it gives you a chance to sort of tap their knowledge and hopefully take something away from it, learn something.
Would you like me to message her and ask if she'd be on your podcast?
Yeah.
If you find anybody on my guest list that you want me, that if I still talk to, because there are some people, obviously I talk to so many people. Well, I don't keep in contact. I try my hardest, I try my hardest if like a birthday comes up or if they have something important going on, I try and stay in contact, but 700 something people eventually, you're not gonna be able to be like, hey, how's your day going every single day? So
if 700 messages in your inbox.
Jesus, I would never get sleep. But I mean, if you see somebody that I've talked to, I'm 100% more than happy to reach out to them. I've gotten people from my podcast on other people's podcasts before. I've started probably 10 podcasts that aren't my own, and I've helped them grow farther than my show will ever be just because I like helping, I guess. I don't know. it's easy to do. I mean, especially I can give insight into someone else's podcast better than I could do my own, because my show has no structure. I don't know where to go with it. I'm at it was the best and worst decision of my life, because I could talk about anything I want, but then that limits you to everything in the world. And that's like surprisingly very, very hard to try and promote it anywhere. People are like, explain the show. I'm just like, Google it. I don't know. I can't tell you what it's about. It could be about making clogs 1 minute, and then next thing you know, it could be to talk about the economic deficiency in our country or some shit like that. Like, it can go one way or another.
Oh, that's the beauty of it. You don't know what you're gonna find out. You know, variety is the spice of life. So, hey, we're
Also,
rocking.
If you talk to Papa John, who's banned me from all social media platforms of his, I put his head on like, I had him as a cult leader in an episode. I talked about it. So I made a shirt with him holding a pizza and it's somebody's head on it. And I sent it to him, and now he won't talk to me. So, you know, obviously feelings going to have to be mutual, just because I don't want to be the guy that's been blocked by Papa John. So I had to block him back. But, you know, if he ever wants to come on the show and explain all the killings that he's done, I'm more than happy to sit down with the man.
Well, on that bombshell, we've gone over an hour already, Robbie. We're going to have to rock on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's all right. No, it's all right. It's been great. Good to talk to you again.
Okay.
And
whatever
we're
you want.
We're gonna close out this section of the show, because otherwise we'll be here all night talking about Star Wars.
I have my night light set. If you want me to just to turn that on real quick, we can go all night. I'm good with that. You ever do a 24-hour stream? That just sounds awful to me.
We've done a couple of like 3 hour, 3 4 hour ones, and it's not. Yeah, it's not good.
Eventually, you just have to make the awkward silence and be like, "Hey, I gotta pee." Like, it's gotta happen, like, now or never.
Well, we'll sign off. You want to promote the podcast?
I'm good. Just Google it.
Out of the Blank. Go and check it out, Eavesdroppers. Check out our mate Robbie's podcast. It's a good laugh. It's always entertaining and funny. You're a funny guy.
Now say that without the gun to your head.
Yeah, hang on the line for us, and we'll catch you in a flash. Good to see you. Oh, link will be in the description as usual. Yeah, if you want to follow Robbie on social media and Instagram, whatever, we'll put all the links there, and the link to the podcast. All right. Take care. See you in a minute. Right then, we're back.
The dwarf, the cripple, and the mother of madness.
That's our chat with Robbie from Out of the Blank. Do check out the links in the show notes. You can follow him on Insta and Twitter and subscribe to his podcast.
700 episodes.
Yeah, imagine that.
I didn't even know that was a number.
He's going to catch up No Agenda at this rate.
What are they on?
1,300 and something.
God, is that all?
Is that all?
Yeah.
They're on 2 a week, aren't they, No Agenda?
Yeah. So Robbie's catching them up 5 a week. So in a couple of years.
Rogan is he not on like 1,300?
I don't know.
I think it's over 1,000.
Yeah, it's definitely over 1,000. I wonder if he's still doing as many now. He's moved to Spotify.
I think he's doing even more.
Oh, is he?
There's loads, loads coming out.
The last one I listened to was the one with Brian Murarescu, I think he's called, the author of the Immortality Key.
I've not heard of that one. When was that? A while ago.
Oh, it's months ago. Yeah, it's the only one I've listened to in over a year.
Yeah. 1615, so he's 1,615.
Wow. Yeah, don't know how long he's going to be with Spotify for, though.
Why? What's happening?
Well, it doesn't work, does it?
In what way?
Who listens to podcasts on Spotify?
Well, that's the whole point of getting him on, wasn't it? And paying him the golden handcuffs.
Yeah, but they've got to sell ad revenue. They've got to sell ad revenue to make it worth it.
Well, it's not working for Spotify then.
No,
But it's working for Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
it's working for him, but they might drop him. There might be a get out. I don't know.
3.
They'll just go back to JRE, powerful dumbbells, whatever the hell it is.
He's doing
Flashlight.
He's doing 4 or 5. 4 or 5 episodes a week. He's doing.
Maybe I should go back and check out some of his latest guests. I don't know.
Peterson's been on recently, hasn't he?
Has he?
I
Right.
think so.
Since he came back from the wilderness.
Yeah, he's got a new book as well, hasn't he? Beyond Summit.
Beyond Order. 12
Beyond
more
Order.
rules for life.
There's someone I was listening to on there that was okay. It was a bit shouty. It was RV Loeb. We're talking about he's the crazy scientist who thinks that the cigar. Do you remember the cigar asteroid? Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
It says he thinks it was a spaceship, or could have been a spaceship because it was such a weird shape.
Yeah, there was talk about this, wasn't there, when it came past that? There was emphasis on its unusual
Shape. So yeah, that was quite interesting, but I've only listened to half of it because he's a bit shouty.
and they're a bit long for me.
Yeah, some of them are. That one's, well, yeah, it's probably about 2.5 hours.
Anyway, let's do some housekeeping.
Okay.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
This is a value for value podcast. If you find this podcast valuable, please consider returning some value. There are lots of ways to do this. Leave us a review on iTunes, would be helpful.
Buy some merchandise also. That's another one. This isn't a t-shirt that you can buy, I don't think.
Ben is, the current grape t-shirts are available. If you go to the, go down to the show notes, to the Amish loot chest, there is a link there where you will find all the merchandise for sale. Put on your fucking muzzle face masks, current grape t-shirts, literally a communist hoodie.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a lovely hoodie. Just washed it for the first time.
How did it hold up?
Is that why you're not wearing
Great. It's now my new dishcloth. It was absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah. And you didn't get the top tier hoodie either. There are like 3 tiers of hoodie. You can have the cheapo, the mid-range, or the sublime. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're putting all our podcasts on YouTube now. So we need subscribers. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Rate and review. Share us with your friends, your family, if you think they will enjoy it.
Yeah.
Hit people in the mouth. Tell people. Spread the word. What did it say? What's it called? That
manspreading.
Pardon?
What?
Manspreading.
Word of mouth. That's it.
That's the one.
Word of mouth. Advertising is the best.
It works. Make it work for us.
You can send us artwork if it's 1400 pixels squared, between 1400 or 3000 pixels squared. You can send us artwork and we can even upload that for that particular episode, which is pretty wild. And it would be a nice thing to do from time to time. Send us links to news articles that you find interesting, media clips, YouTube videos that you think are interesting, that are unreported in the lamestream media. Send them our way. That's a good way to become a producer. What else? I'll tell you what, I thought of a new way to become a producer. Jingle requests.
Right.
You could request a jingle if you have a personal favourite.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I see.
Do you know what I mean? That's what they do on No Agenda. Or you could even, if you could come up with combos. Like I've got some combo jingles that I've spliced together. If you can think of a funny combo jingle, that you would like exploiting. You know, let's try this.
I can't have children with a
Fucking vegan.
That would be one example.
Yeah. No, I've got a sort of a jingle that I want to listen to. I want to listen to the Brexit jingle.
Yeah, it's kind of redundant now, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about this?
Rock down to Brexit Avenue. Merkel's getting something.
No, that was lockdown 2.
Oh, was it? Right, okay.
We're on lockdown 3 now.
I'm conflating.
Was it the business time one?
It was.
The Brexit one.
It's Brexit time. I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say it's time for Brexit and it's Brexit time. Ooh. What about this?
People send in jingles they've made.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Definitely.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
About this one. An alteration.
I can't have children with a
Chest feeding.
whore.
With a chest feeding core.
Yeah. So I got a special one for you, Matt, that you requested last week.
Every time you drop that seed in her.
Dropped that seed in her.
Drop that seed in her.
I'm not sure that I requested that.
You did. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it.
I don't know.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Yeah, so that's another way, a new way to become a producer. I think I might require monetary donations for that service.
Right. Okay. How much for a current grape?
£5.
Wow. That's a lot.
All right, just for you.
Current grape.
Cheers.
I think is that all the producer stuff? What's the best way to become a producer?
Tosses a fucking coin.
Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty.
Feces.
Oh valley of plenty. Oh.
People have got to understand vaccination is going to be, in the end, your route to liberty.
Because I'm literally a communist. Because I'm literally a...
Feces.
I think you're hitting the point, Phil.
Yeah, if you go to the armisinquisition.com, you'll find a PayPal tab there. If you want to set up a monthly donation or give us a one-off. I was looking on one of our buddies' podcasts. I think, which show notes was it? I can't remember, but there was a podcast, and in the show notes, it had a list of crypto addresses for different cryptos. So I thought, we need to find out how to do that for different
one for F.
Different coins.
Oh, you need one for different. Can we not have a wallet that, like, if I have a wallet, and I do, here it is, I can put different kinds of currency in that wallet without having to buy 5 or 6 different wallets.
Right, I don't know how it works. Maybe.
I don't. You'd think that there would be some kind of universal.
We actually have some crypto.
Do we?
Library coins.
Is it a shit coin?
I'm going to have to start putting it in the show notes. We have an Odyssey channel now, which is a video platform.
Right.
It's where people go when they get banned from YouTube. And you earn library coins by having your videos on Odyssey. So we're starting to get some Odyssey coins now. Library coins. So, you know.
Right. I'm going to have to learn.
But it's free. It's not cost anything.
Sign me up.
Yeah. I think they're probably worth about $2 or something. But never mind.
Oof.
Anyway, let's thank the producers for episode 174. We have Nomae NosNoj, Gav Scott, Haste Dave, Anonymous, and everyone who bought merch this week. Thank you so much. You're so amazing in your love. Hang on. Do you know, sloppy fucker.
Is it that button again?
No.
They are.
Yeah.
So amazing in their love.
I've been coming to terms with the fact that I am...
Chest feeding.
Fucking vegan.
Literally the best mate.
The dwarf. The
Carrots.
The
Grape.
The
Homophobe.
The wings.
The Tossilizu mab. The
Fucking vegan.
The
Lion dog face pony soldier.
The
Asna.
The
corn pop. Cunts.
The number 11.
The
Special deposits.
The blind man. The
Communist.
On the horizon.
The cripple and the mother.
Smelly bickering.
From
like a judgment day and terminating mode, like
Yes!
I don't get it, never will.
They are.
Yeah.
So, chest feeding. Amazing. And they're chest feeding. Love them.
Read the standing orders. Read them and understand them.
Yeah, read the standing orders, for fuck's sake. All right, should we do some Rona news?
COVID-19 news. If you let it rip, they would get infected very rapidly and soon be filling up your hospitals and unfortunately your morgues.
Vaccination is going to be, in the end, your route to liberty.
I wish we could vaccinate against stupidity.
Tossilizu mab.
In the same ballpark as seasonal influenza.
From hell.
The magic vaccine is not going to allow us to go completely back to normal.
Because we've been bored and we want to have fun.
Read the standing orders. Read them and understand them.
There's a big row broke up this week with the nurses, isn't there?
We're talking about the pay rise.
Yeah, we had a budget this week, and the Chancellor of the UK, Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, announced an incredibly generous arrangement for the nurses.
Well, it's all like the entire NHS, though, isn't it? Not just nurses.
It's announced a 1% pay rise. Let's hear the BBC.
Two unions representing tens of thousands of healthcare workers are warning of possible strike action after the government suggested a 1% pay rise for most NHS workers in England. It has been branded an insult and hypocrisy in its greatest form by healthcare workers, but the government insists 1% is all it can afford at a difficult time for public finances. Around 1 million other public sector staff, including teachers, the armed forces, firefighters and police officers, are about to have their pay frozen for a year. From Westminster, our deputy political editor.
Yeah, they're not happy.
No.
I can understand why. When they've been through the mill for a year and they're having to work with... one of the biggest problems seems to be reduced staff. Because, you know, if a nurse tests positive, she's got to isolate.
Or he.
He, yeah.
Or he, yeah. Or a doctor. Or anyone who works in the hospital, they have to isolate. And then...
Yeah.
I think some of the measures they've put in place as far as sort of segregating people as well, it's probably put a strain on number of beds and everything else.
I think the other thing as well is that even before the pandemic, there was, I think, something either 1 in 10 or 2 in 10 jobs, positions were vacant. So you can't recruit nurses, and they were like hemorrhaging staff anyway because nobody wants to do it anymore because it's too stressful. That's prior to the pandemic.
Yeah. So it's a funny one, isn't it? The rest of the public sector is having a pay freeze.
Yeah.
I mean, the teachers have worked through all this, haven't they? Well, most of them.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them have been at home and doing online teaching on the side for £20-30 an hour. Oops.
I think it's a bit. I think it's a bit difficult to give everybody in the NHS a pay rise. I work in the NHS, and I want a pay rise.
Yeah.
I think maybe there should be some way of. I don't know how you do it though, rewarding people that have worked on a critical care unit or have, worked extra hours. Maybe you just have to figure out a way to pay them the hours that they've worked. I don't know. I
mean, I don't understand how I know there's this sort of banding system in the NHS as well, where don't NHS staff get automatic pay rises based on years of service?
Yeah.
So it's the 1% on top of that.
Yeah.
Right.
So basically, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, is it like a Corona bonus?
No, so each year, what used to happen is used to be an increment every year, so you were pretty much guaranteed as long as you didn't do anything that was like gross misconduct or whatever, and you got fired, and then you get a cost of living increase in your wage. So that's what the 1% is. But now they've kind of changed the banding, so some bands some increments on a band you might stay on for so it's between 2 and 3 years, and then your pay goes up after that, basically.
What sort of percentage of the band increases in pay?
Some of them are quite big, so like a couple of £1,000. So on some that might be like 10%, nearly 8%.
Right. Yeah.
Just look at it properly. But some of them are smaller.
Yeah.
As well.
Right.
And it obviously depends on how much you're earning. So if you're earning 18 grand and then you get an extra 2 grand, and obviously that's
less, yeah.
A bigger percentage.
I think starting salary for a nurse now is just over 25. It's 25,500, I think.
Is it now?
Yeah. That's what one of the reports I saw said. Right. Let's. Do you want to hear what Keith Starmer's take on it is?
Others have also worked through this pandemic, but most public sector workers will have their pay frozen. The Labour leader says they all deserve a rise.
The freeze on public sector pay is wrong. We've challenged the government on it. I challenged them in the budget response on it, and we'll continue to challenge them on it.
So you want pay rises for everyone. You don't want any tax rises. Is that financially responsible?
We have to have a plan for the future to rebuild the foundations of our country. You don't do that by freezing the pay of those on the front line throughout this pandemic, public sector workers.
He had a little flub there. He meant to say plan.
He said pan.
We have to have a plan for the future.
He says pan.
Ugh.
That was on ITV. Interestingly, Channel 4 edited that bit out, that flub, in their coverage.
Sorry, I'm just looking
Ben's muted and Matt's looking at his phone.
Well, I'm just looking. You just made look up my banding.
Right.
I'm going to say I'm going to stay on the same wage for 2 years, and then obviously if I don't get a cost of living increase. And then for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, I then stay on the same pay.
Right. And then there's a decent jump, is there?
Yeah.
Right.
Average ICU nurse salary, 53,323 a year. Entry level, 32.5 grand. And then top experience around about 78,000.
No, that's not true.
That's what it says for an ICU nurse.
No, there's no way that's true. There's no way that intensive care nurses are earning band 8. That's like God level in the NHS.
I think there's different bands for different areas of the NHS.
Oh, there isn't.
It's not. Is it just one band?
Yeah. No, it's not. Yeah, there's different bands. So each band goes from band 1 or 2 for some reason to 9, which is band 9 is a consultant's pay, and the top of that is 104.
Yeah, but the consultant doesn't earn the same pay bands as a nurse. There are different levels.
No. Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah.
So that might be private, actually. I'm on the same Google page and conflicting things.
Well, the thing that I've
started using DuckDuckGo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
most nurses, well, when you start as a nurse, you start on band 5.
Right.
And then normally what happens is you do a little bit of training and you start getting paid band 6. And then band 7 is normally like a matron. So you start going into management.
Oh, matron.
Normally. And then like you get some super rare nurses that manage loads of shit, might be on band 8A and maybe band 8B.
Right.
But anything above that, just being a nurse, I would say no chance.
Yeah.
Band 5, 36,738 a year. That's in London.
Yeah, that's
intensive care.
That's the top, and that's because it's got a London weighting. So the top of Band 5 is £30,615 everywhere else.
There's one below here in Bristol for 30,615. So that's right. That initial one that I said, where the median is 53, but it must be London because that's the entry for. So Band 5, 36.
It's not an entry level. That's you've been lied to by the internet. The bottom of Band 5 is 24,907.
Oh, right. Well, maybe you don't start at the bottom of Band 5 when you're in the ICU.
You will do. Unless, I don't know, there might be different rules for different jobs, but in my experience, that is not true.
It's not enough anyway, 53 grand a year.
Well, the unions are campaigning, the nurses' unions campaigning for 12.5% increase.
Wow.
Yeah, that's to make up for the pay freeze, isn't it, though?
Yeah. Yeah, to make up for since, I guess, the financial crash? Or was it after that?
Yeah, so the pay was frozen for years and then set to 1% for years, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The public sector doesn't make any profit, does it? So it's a bit difficult to kind of dish out money, isn't it?
What they do is they say, or the unions say, that it should match inflation.
Yeah, like pensions.
Right. Yeah, the triple lock. Whatever's higher.
There's a campaign being started for a slow hand clap on Thursday.
What, one hand?
Have you heard about this?
No, thank God.
No? Are you not going to get out on your doorstep on Thursday at 8 o'clock and do a slow hand clap for the 1% pay rise?
No.
Seems so...
It doesn't make any difference. Every year this happens, no matter whether there's a pandemic or there is. The government suggests a pay increase. The nurses' union says, no, that's shit. Pay us all this money you owe us for freezing our pay and whatever because inflation went up. And it just happens every year. And then it goes away. And then they come to the next pay deal and it all starts again.
I think there is a genuine concern that we are going to start hemorrhaging nurses from the industry.
It's already happening. It's already happening.
Well, then, is that not an argument to?
Well, this is why
pay them more.
Privatise the NHS.
The pay. Well, there's that, but the pay. What they did is when they about 2 or 3 years ago, what they did is they restructured the pay bands. So you used to start as a qualified nurse on like 21 or 22. And what they did is they shifted up the pay bands a bit and squeezed them all together and made less increments. So the top of the scale was still pretty similar to what it used to be. But instead of starting on 22, you started on 24 or something like that, basically. And that's what they did.
I've got one of the nurse union reps was on the news. I've got a little clip from her.
This nursing union official says many are prepared to swap the front line for the picket line.
Anger leads to passion, and passion leads to action. And I feel like there is going to be a lot of action in the weeks to come.
Yeah, I think she got it wrong. Let's hear it again. Hang on.
Anger leads to passion, and passion leads to action.
I think she meant to say this.
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Yeah, will do. She's working in an ITU ward and not going into work. It'll lead to suffering, won't it?
Yeah, I think that's a legitimate concern. I know from personal experience that there are experienced nurses looking to get out.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
A lot of it is because of the understaffing, and all the PPE is a big issue. It's physically draining having to wear all that stuff and changing it all the time, and
I imagine
the job has got a lot harder because of the mitigation measures that have been put in place.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, sticking with the healthcare workers, you know, my mate Dr. Hillary from Good Morning Britain, He was on Good Morning Britain this week, and well, we all know his thoughts on the vaccine, don't we?
I wish we could vaccinate against stupidity.
But he got into a bit of hot bother this week. Let's see, and it's to do with these reports that have been coming out. Apparently, there was an article, I think, in the Mail saying that somewhere around 200,000 health and social workers were refusing the jab, which he finds quite appalling, and he got into a bit of hot bother over these comments on Good Morning Britain this week.
I've talked about this a lot, but I'm appalled by this. Yeah. And I really think it's not acceptable. And if you work in NHS and care work, and you're a potential risk to the people you're caring for, you either have the jab or you don't go to work, I think.
Look, we know that about 450 or more COVID cases a day are required in hospitals. So if you've got staff who are potentially able to transmit the virus to you, they shouldn't be in that hospital. Would you expect a surgeon to operate on you if they were HIV positive? Would you expect a surgeon to operate if you hepatitis B positive? No, they're not allowed to.
No, they're not allowed to. Let's fast forward 24 hours. Good Morning Britain. Dr. Hillary?
I want to return to something that we talked about yesterday. We were talking about healthcare professionals and doctors in hospitals with a potential transmissible infection that they're carrying that could put their patients at risk. And I made an error. So I said I made a clumsy comparison with people carrying COVID with people who are living with HIV or hepatitis B not being able to operate on patients. They can, of course, they have since 2013 been able to operate and carry out surgical procedures, providing there's safeguarding procedures and prevention and infection control in place to do this. And this is the Public Health England advice, it's the Department of Health advice, and no reason they can't operate. Because when they're treated and their viral load is almost zero, they can do this safely. I was talking about back in the day when they weren't treated, and I need to make that clear and apologise to anybody who was offended by that.
Apology accepted, Captain Nita.
Yeah, clumsy. This is the fucking expert that's dragged on TV every morning on Good Morning Britain.
He's not an expert, is he?
What's he doing there then?
What exactly? He's just a vox pop, isn't he?
It's a fucking
anal swab test.
It's a fucking
anal swab test.
Yeah, I know. It's awful.
Yeah.
When was the last time he actually treated someone?
1986, maybe?
Exactly.
When he was struck off.
Oh dear, saying back in the old days, when there was this stigma attached to people who had HIV.
Just sawing off limbs, give them some rum.
You know.
They'll be fine.
Yeah. It's a fucking anal swab. So why is this happening, Dr. Hillary? Why are hundreds of thousands of healthcare and social care staff refusing the vaccine? Let's hear his pearls of wisdom.
You know, unless I'm at extreme risk, I shouldn't take it.
I think there's a huge job of education to be done. So a lot of people are from BAME communities, so they have a reluctance which could be changed through education. And you've got lots of religious leaders, showing the way and saying, no, look, we want you to have the vaccine, and for these reasons. So there's an education job to be done. We know that
re-education, I think he meant to say.
Polish people.
I was just going to say, he's saying BAME and then religion. They're not the same.
No.
I could be a Muslim. I'm not BAME.
You don't have to be brown.
No. Sweeping generalisations.
Yeah.
That guy looks different than me, so he must be one of them. Those BAME fellows who don't want the vaccine. It's just not fucking helpful, is it?
No.
Anyway, it gets better.
For example, I'm told that Polish people have an almost sort of ingrained distrust of the state.
What? Polish people have an ingrained distrust of the state. You know how he wants to vaccinate people against stupidity? I'd like to vaccinate people against historical illiteracy. Why on earth might Polish people have an ingrained mistrust of the state? This guy's a fucking retard.
Liabilities. He's broken, isn't he?
My mum would be lapping this up.
and therefore they need to be educated that this is
re-educated.
Something that doctors want them to do for their own protection and for the protection of their patients.
Yeah. Read a fucking history book, you moron.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, he's just a fucking idiot. But it provides material for the podcast, so...
Yeah, when's it coming on?
Fuck me. Yeah, we could probably get banned off YouTube. Probably put his foot on it, wouldn't he? He'd probably say darky or something. Fucking idiot.
He's backwards.
Interesting report this week from DW about obesity and the links between obesity and...
Deutsche Welle.
What?
It's a Deutsche Welle.
Yeah. He's fucking hard work, this anchor, as well. I've not heard this one before, but...
Oh, God. He just, like, go to the academy. Get a trainee. No cheaper.
Yeah. Bend over for your...
Anal swab tests.
All right, let's see Deutsche Welle.
A new global study shows that countries with high obesity levels have far higher death rates from COVID-19. The report from the World Obesity Federation found that the COVID death rate is 10 times higher in countries where more than half the population are overweight. The study does not address who catches the coronavirus, but who dies from it. The authors are calling for people living with obesity to be given vaccination priority. Olivia Barata Cavalcante is joining me now, the Director of Science and Programs at the World Obesity Federation. She joins us from London. Tell us more about the study findings. Has this been an overlooked factor in looking at COVID mortality?
So in the last year, we have been studying this at rapid pace, and we have been finding associations between obesity and COVID-19 complications in the last few months from studies from several countries. I think what our report shows is that 90% of all COVID-19 related deaths happen in countries that had at least 50% of their population with overweight or obesity.
Just to repeat that, 90% of deaths occur in countries with over 50% of the population being clinically obese. The three most obese countries in the world, I believe, US, UK, Belgium.
Belgium? It's all that beer and chocolate, isn't it?
Waffles.
Yeah, but, we should have locked down sooner and harder.
Well, there is that, isn't there? But I suppose it's the other comparisons as well. So what are the countries that are the least obese? So like
China,
Japan,
okay.
North Korea.
Well, what I was thinking is the other sort of thing in there is, fat old people. So if there's not as many old people in the country that you live in, there's a younger sort of average lifespan.
It depends how you look after your old people. So in Japan, they have a really sophisticated program of elderly healthcare. They get I believe they get state paid for vitamin supplements and stuff. Yeah. The older Japanese diet is really healthy.
Mm-hmm. Fish and rice.
They're not obese.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this just comes down to fucking basic metabolic health.
Mm.
And if you have a really old, fucked population, you're going to have a really high death rate.
Mm.
But, it's going to take years to muddle through this fucking quagmire of data, isn't it? Before we can really make any concrete or informed decisions or conclusions. It's just another another data point, isn't it? The more overweight your population is, it seems that the higher your death rate is going to be.
There's lots of other stuff that kind of ties in with being overweight as well. Obviously, diabetes and some other
heart disease.
Heart disease, high blood pressure. Atherosclerosis.
I don't think it's controversial to say that if you're really overweight or obese, your life expectancy goes down.
No, I don't think
you're unhealthy. So
yes,
getting another disease on top of that is going to make you more susceptible, isn't it?
I think so.
It's, but we don't we don't look at things in this sort of holistic manner, do we? We look at what drug can I give you to help this disease you have.
That's often the sort of criticism of the NHS, is that it's all kind of siloed and departments aren't very good at working with each other.
Well, I think it's
cheaper to prescribe gym memberships in a lot of cases.
Tried that.
We've got to take it up, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really.
How much more difficult is it to go to the gym for an hour 5 times a week than it is to take a statin?
I'll tell you one success story we do have is something like Heartbeat, which is a charity that targets people who have had
heart attack,
bypass surgery, heart surgery, whatever. And my dad goes, and he loves it. It's a social thing.
Yeah.
He likes to have a crack with the instructors and wind them up and stuff.
I suppose there's Weight Watchers,
rolling around on the floor.
Defibrillator in every corner of the room.
We could, what about rolling out something like that? Would that be...
There's Weight Watchers, though, isn't it? I know it's private or whatever, but...
This is the thing, but it's easier to prevent stuff than it is, and cheaper to prevent things than it is to pay for aftercare.
I think we have a problem of short-term thinking in healthcare, don't we?
Yeah.
We're looking for quick fixes to the impending crisis, the next crisis on the horizon.
Exactly.
Whereas I think some of maybe our more successful European friends plan a bit more, there is a more holistic attitude towards healthcare, and that it's not something you do at the end of your life to keep you alive. It's something that started in youth and follows you through your life, which we don't have. We don't have anything like that here.
No.
I don't know. But at the end of the day, it comes down to personal responsibility, and I'm all for that. If you want to go and have Big Mac every day for your breakfast, that's fine with me. If that's what you want to do. Maybe it's an education thing. I don't know.
Well, if you
sat here smoking and drinking.
You're choosing to take the risk, though, aren't you? I mean, you've obviously performed a risk assessment before smoking and drinking or whatever, and you've deemed that risk to be acceptable.
I suppose that I was going to say, but smoking is an addiction, but I think those other things like sugar, you can be addicted to sugar.
Absolutely, yeah. Possibly more addictive than smoking. Possibly.
I don't know.
I'm going to hang my hat. I'll die on that hill.
I saw a documentary once of a woman who was addicted to chewing her child's used nappies.
More addictive than smoking.
She used to carry them. She always had one with her. Always had one in her purse. And there was some psychological trigger. Probably anxiety or something. And she would pull one out and just gnaw on it. The used nappy. She wouldn't open it out. She wouldn't. Yeah, turds in it. But she wouldn't open it, and just the outside of the nappy. Do you remember the technique for balling up a used nappy with the strap? And she would just have them. She'd just pick one out and just gnaw on it.
That's almost like a comforter, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a psychological thing. I guess the thing is with smoking is there is definitely a physical component to the addiction.
Yeah, that's that's like classical conditioning. What she's stimulus and response. So
Yeah.
She feels anxious, so she does this, and it's become associated with her calming down, basically.
Smoking is a double threat, isn't there? There's a psychological addiction and a physical addiction.
Yeah, so the nicotine is actually doing something, isn't it, in your brain, in your nervous system.
Anyway, I was watching Unheard this week, and they had Lord Sumption on. Have you heard of Lord Sumption?
Is he got some gumption?
He certainly has got some.
That's just an assumption.
Let's not be trumpeting.
Your assumption of Lord Sumption's gumption is correct because he is a retired Supreme Court Justice.
Right.
And he's been one of the government's most outspoken critics on the corona measures.
Right. Okay.
The despotic laws.
Has he come out and said that the fines are basically unenforceable because there's no specified limit?
Nope, better than that. I've got 2 clips now. I'll play the first one. This is quite long. It's a 2-minute clips. The thing is, this guy is. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say I'll try and concentrate for 2 minutes.
The thing is, he's a thoughtful, erudite, eloquent guy. He's not a soundbite guy. And I would recommend that everyone goes and watch the full interview. It's about 3/4 of an hour long. Because he understands nuance. And he has a point of view which is worth listening to. And so he isn't clippable like the usual tripe we get on media. You know, like Dr. Hillary. You can't just listen to 5 minutes and get 5 diamond clips out of him. The guy's thoughtful and worth listening to, so it's 2 minutes long, so apologise, but it's worth listening to.
I do not like a world in which you have to produce a document in order to justify...
this is... The conversation went all across the COVID scenario that we're in, but this clip is salient to vaccine passports.
I do not like a world in which you have to produce a document in order to justify partaking in the ordinary activities of human existence any more than the next person. The trouble is that the alternative is even worse. I would prefer a system which was entirely voluntary and which trusted people. But given that I don't think that that is a politically feasible option, I think that we have got to choose the least bad thing. And to my mind, a vaccine passport is a lot less bad than simply indiscriminately depriving everybody of what makes life worth living.
Are you not worried that it's actually quite a major change in the way we run our society to suddenly say that every human being needs to take the latest government-mandated vaccine and produce a document to prove it? Otherwise, they are essentially outcasts. They may not be able to go to a restaurant, get on an airplane, go to the cinema. That sounds like quite a big step.
Yes, it is, and I think it's a regrettable step. And if people were prepared to trust each other and to rely on non-coercive measures, we wouldn't need it. But I recognise that most of my fellow citizens want coercive measures, and therefore it is incumbent on us, I think, to think of the least intrusive and the least objectionable coercive measure.
But it's that essentially is tantamount to a compulsory vaccine then. I mean, you can say, oh, it's voluntary, you don't need to ever step foot in a restaurant or a cinema ever again if you don't want to take it, but essentially it's saying it's a compulsory vaccine.
I think there is a difference, but I think that it's very similar. And I regret this, but I think a compulsory vaccine is a lot better than compulsory house arrest.
He's a realist. He understands the political situation that our government is in, that they can't get out of. And so he sees that the only way out, that this is the least bad of the two options, having this vaccine passport if you want to partake in society going forward.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I know that it's not unheard of. So in order to travel to certain areas, you need things like yellow fever vaccine certificates, things like that. I think maybe before our time, there was also similar for other, maybe smallpox or whatever. There was requirements for certification in order to travel. I don't think it's ever been as sort of widespread as you definitely need it to do anything. Like your man was saying there.
Go to the pub.
Go to the theatre or the pub or whatever.
Do you not see that happening?
Yeah, I do. I mean, they're already talking about festivals this year requiring. Ian Brown has pulled out of one of the festivals because they've said that all artists have to be vaccinated. I think it's going to be the same for people who want tickets. It's unusual. It's different.
Yeah,
it's better than the lockdown for everyone. I do agree with him in that sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in a position where I've had to have vaccines in order to work, so that's lived experience. But I understand the reasons behind that, and it's due to the fact I was working so close with.
It's the nature of the job.
Exactly, and you either accept that or you don't, and if you don't, then it becomes very difficult to do your job, and rightly so. If you can't do your job properly, it becomes a point where you can't do your job at all. So I've been in situations where I've had vaccines and been able to continue to work. That made sense for me at the time because of, like you say, the nature of the job. But like plumbers, like we've heard, Pimlico plumbers in London, they're saying no jab, no job. Obviously that is definitely unheard of. I don't think plumbers work in grade A clean rooms very often.
Yeah, that happens in Australia in certain jobs. No job, no job. He makes a really interesting point in the interview about how our laws are built on convention. So there's nothing stopping a government with a majority implementing any law that it wants. It could make green M&Ms illegal tomorrow if it has a majority. But the thing that holds it back is convention. We don't have a constitution. We don't have constitutional rights like they have in the States that are protected, that are sacrosanct. The only thing that holds the government back is convention. And once you break a convention, that's it. It's gone.
Floodgates open.
5 years, when the next pandemic hits, all this is back. All this is on the table as an option.
Yeah.
House arrest. No right to protest.
That's the weird thing, is what it means for the future, doesn't it?
Yeah, but people are, I'm getting 80% of my pay to stay at home, so I don't give a shit.
Yeah, well, they will do it when the fucking furlough finishes and everyone gets made redundant.
Well, that was an interesting point from the budget. Furlough's been extended till September.
I know, September. I can't believe that. How long can they keep paying everyone's salary for?
They've got to rip the Band-Aid off, man.
I know.
But they can't, because they're fucking politicians. They don't give a shit. What's most likely to get me elected next time? They don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck about you, or your job, or your kids. What's best for me to get elected next time? And this is the problem we're going to have. The only thing that can repair this convention that's been broken is the public inquiry when that comes. And it will come. Maybe in 2 years, who knows? They take a long time. And if this government's still in power, and they will want to cover their backs. And Sage, the fuckers who dragged us into this, they'll want to cover their arses as well. So they'll do anything to get rid of any evidence that suggests that this was unnecessary and it created more harm than, say, voluntary measures.
Everything's so recorded, though, now. I mean, surely that's an impossible task.
They're the gatekeepers. Who knows? Who knows how it'll work? But that's the only way we get out of this, is if the public inquiry shows that this was a fuck up. And maybe it won't be. Maybe this was the right course of action. I disagree with it all on principle, but We'll see. Be interesting to see the fallout of this because it's going to go on for years. If you thought Brexit was dragged out,
I thought that was our generation's thing that I'm going to have to think about for the rest of my life.
I don't think we've seen out yet. I've got one little clip from Sumption. One part that was actually clippable, which you might like.
Sometimes the most public-spirited thing that you can do with despotic laws like these is to ignore them. I think that if the government persists long enough with locking people down, depending on the severity of the lockdown, civil disobedience is likely to be the result. Sometimes the most public-spirited thing that you can do with despotic laws like these is to ignore them.
Don't follow unjust orders.
Have you seen that 41% of over 80s who've been vaccinated are now breaking lockdown rules?
Mm. Good. Mm. Otherwise, what was the point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He talks about this as well, that the government's got themselves in this position where being vaccinated matters and doesn't matter at the same time.
Schrodinger's vaccine.
Yeah. This logical fallacy.
It's absolutely mental, that, isn't it?
You should watch it. Everyone listening, you should watch this interview on Unheard with Lord Sumption. It's really good.
Mm.
He makes the moral case for disobeying the laws. This is a retired Supreme Court justice.
Well, there is. Judges are quite renowned for being, I don't know, rebellious, I suppose. I don't know what's the right term, but saying things like this, basically, because that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get out of this alive.
I wish we could vaccinate against stupidity.
I don't know. Anyway. Did you see the Scouse lady, the Scouse old lady in the retirement home get a telegram from the Queen?
No.
No, we have a tradition in this country that when you reach 100 years of age, you get a telegram from the Queen, a personal telegram, congratulating you. And I think this might be becoming a pain in the arse for Liz, because there's more and more coffin dodgers making it to 100 now, isn't there?
Yeah, there's quite an interesting statistic behind that, if you bothered Googling it, about when she first became Queen, how many she sent compared to now. It's like gone up 1,000-fold or something.
That's all she does.
I know, yeah.
Anyway, I've got this clip that was going around from this old dear, and I'll paint the picture for you. Someone's holding the camera, and it's in the nursing home, and she's there, and the care worker's there with the card, and obviously her eyesight must be going, so she reads out the card to her from Queen Elizabeth II, and her reaction is fantastic.
She had a nice pink coat on. I'm so pleased to know that you are celebrating your 100th birthday on the 15th of January 2021. I send my congratulations and best wishes to you on such a special occasion.
Yeah.
Elizabeth.
She couldn't give one shite.
Well, she did sign it, didn't she?
That was good of her. She couldn't give one shite.
It's true.
Is that an English thing? Shite?
Shite.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
You don't hear that in American movies, do you?
No, I think it's a Northwest thing as well, I would say.
Yeah, Manchester and Liverpool.
And Lancashire.
Yeah.
I remember, I've always said shite. I've been saying shite for years.
Yeah, since you're like 4.
Yeah, you hear it on the terraces.
Yeah. Shite. Absolute shite.
Sean Gregan, you fucking shite!
Beast.
Oh, dear. Yeah, that made me chuckle out. It's worth it. I might put the link to the video in the show notes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Because we're getting bored and we want to have fun.
Is that all the 80-year-olds now?
Read the standing orders. Read them and understand them.
Yeah, all the 80-year-olds breaking COVID rules.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
What are we going to do then?
Good on them.
Yeah, definitely.
This is, I don't know.
Yeah, going back to Lord Sumption, he says, like, there is a point where each individual decides where their line is, what they will
Draw
take.
the line.
And they will make a moral decision that this isn't for them anymore. And he said, like, it won't be like a snap. There won't be this snap. It's not about protests and people on with megaphones. It's individuals rejecting and saying that they comply, but acting another way.
Yeah. Sounds familiar.
I thought I just did a little clip of my fantastic ability of doing South African accents from last week.
Oh, don't.
Sorry, I can't serve you if you're not wearing a face mask.
What the fuck?
Oh, that's awful.
Sorry, I can't serve you if you're not wearing a face mask. I can't serve you if you're not wearing a face mask.
I can't place that at all. I can't serve you if you're not playing the face mask.
I believe that's what they call an international accent.
Yeah. Do you know what? When I said the first sorry, I actually went for it. And then I realised that I'm not going to be able to do this. So I'm going to just mash as many accents as I can. You'll hear the first, like, sorry is like a South African, almost a South African sorry.
Study.
And then...
Study.
Sorry, I can't serve you if you're not wearing a face mask. So I just went for it.
Full commitment. Respect.
It's my my missus' birthday tomorrow.
Oh, 50.
Birthday?
50.
Postcard from the Queen.
She don't give a fucking shite. Yeah. I don't know. I won't say how old she is, even though she doesn't listen. Between 40 and 50, somewhere in that region.
Yeah.
I can get away with that.
50.
Got her a handbag.
Oh.
Nice.
What colour is it?
Cream.
Ooh.
Is it functional or fashionable?
Are you
both? God.
Are you going to force some birthday sex on her?
Do you mean...
Every time you drop that seed in her.
What, on a Monday? No, who has sex on a Monday? Not me.
It's her birthday.
Yeah, I think a suitable birthday present would be to leave her alone.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I imagine that she preferred to be left alone on her birthday so she can enjoy it.
Exactly, she don't want me to.
Every time you drop that seed in her.
I can't serve you if you're not wearing a face mask. I got her a charm for a charm bracelet.
Oh, God. Is it a Pandora's one thing?
No, it's the Chinese Amazon.
Clandora.
Chandora. She asked for a charm bracelet for Christmas, and I got her a legit one.
Right.
A Pandora one, and a couple of charms, one from me and one from the boys. And so that's it's the gift that keeps giving now. When I'm lost for an idea what to get her for a Christmas or birthday.
What are the charms you've got her?
Paperclip.
What, this new one?
Just name three of the... You've got 3 charms. I want to know what they are.
One is a heart that says mum.
Is it anatomically correct? With, like, aorta and stuff?
Ventricles.
Yeah.
No, it's the cartoon-style heart that says mum on it. I got her one from the dog at Christmas, who sadly departed. With I think it was a paw or something, dog's paw. Okay. And this time I got a birthstone. March.
Oh, hang on, March.
What is it?
Topaz?
No, aquamarine.
Aquamarine. That was February. I've no idea.
February is amethyst.
What's May? Just start asking for a friend.
Fool's Gold.
Yes. Stone Roses.
No, I don't know. I don't know what May is. And I've got her a coat as well, but that's not coming till next week.
Right.
You know what she does? She sends you a link to something she wants.
Okay.
And you click on the link, and it's not in stock.
You've got to find it off the internet.
It's a good system.
You put the part number in. It's out of stock everywhere. You know that coat you wanted? It's not in stock. Why are you waiting to order it now? The one you sent me the link, it was the black coat, and then you asked for it in khaki. The khaki is out of stock in the world. It's not available anywhere. I can get you a size bigger than what you asked for, but it'll be a week after your birthday. All right, that'll do. Oh dear, she's hard work. I'm really good. I'm really good at birthdays. I can produce a long list of things.
Yeah, I've started doing that now
to avoid disappointment.
Yeah, because my wife has a different kind of. My presents are more expensive and classy. Hers are from Poundland, if I sort of say. Or just get me some bits of stuff. Cheapest socks, the cheapest toys. You know,
what toys do you? What toys do you get?
You know, just shite plastic ones.
What?
What do you think?
Spider-Man?
Well, one year she got me a fake Nerf gun from Poundland, and it was awful.
Now, to be fair, the knockoff Nerf that Smith's Toys do is really good.
Well, it's not as good as the actual real-life Nerf gun that she got me this Christmas. My Poundland gun, I'm talking about.
I think it's called X-Force or something. I got our oldest a minigun for Christmas. Nice. A Nerf minigun. It's amazing.
Yeah, I've got one. Is it a pump action one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I got.
It was like 30 quid or something.
I've not used it for a while because it scares the children.
Yeah, it's got some force.
Yeah.
X-Force.
And I'm not allowed to shoot the baby anymore.
Do you pretend you're Arnie in T2 at Skynet Labs, where he comes out, he breaks the windows in the building and then lays waste to the cop cars with a minigun?
No.
No?
I get my eldest son's biggest dinosaur. I put that at one end of the kitchen and I try and shoot it from the other end of the kitchen, which is 7 meters away. And it's travelling at force still beyond 7 meters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's an advert for Nerf today, and it is the longest firing gun. I think it does 120 meters.
Get out of here.
What? Is it faster than Bolt as well? Over that distance?
Bolt Hussein?
Yeah, that one. That guy.
Yes. It's faster than a speeding bullet. It's a speeding Nerf dart.
Well, right.
We're done.
Are we done then? Good.
Thanks.
Good.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, guys.
I think it's, isn't it Tell next week? It's Terry Lovelace next week, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know.
Oh.
I think it is.
0 points
for that.
Yeah, it'll be like a
Judgment Day and Terminating mode, like.
Yeah, I think it's Terry Lovelace. We're going to talk about aliens and alien abduction next week, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll try to stay on the script this time as well.
Should be a good Union of the Unwanted coming out. They're recording now, I think, or later tonight as we are recording. So it'll drop the same time as this show. So I think I can give away some spoilers. It's going to be an occult special.
Ooh.
The Odd Man is going to be there.
Oh.
Ken Ami is going to be there.
Oh,
excellent.
It's just all of our guests.
Jay Dyer is going to be there from InfoWars.
All right.
So check that out. Well, now you've finished listening to this. Check that out because I think it's going to be explosive.
I think we should get Ken back on.
I'd love to get Ken back on.
I want to look into his eyes again.
Yeah, he's great. Nice guy.
Mesmerising. And the Odd Man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He does a mean Klaus Schwab impersonation.
Does he have a brooch?
He had the outfit on, like the New World Order Illuminati outfit on, when he did his Instagram video. It's hilarious.
Right.
You've seen that picture of Klaus Schwab in his, like, Federation...
schmuck. Yeah.
Starfleet Federation ambassador uniform. Fucking...
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know where we're going with that, yeah.
Anal swab tests for...
Oh my god, the music's finished. Too long, dilly-dallying. Right, see you next week.
Bye.
Conda forever.
I wish we could vaccinate against stupidity.
Because we're being bored and we want to have fun. Read them and understand them! Will you stop talking?
She couldn't give one shite.
I can't save you if you're not wearing a face mask.
You have no authority here, Jackie.
I can't have children with a fucking vegan.
Oh.